So we crossed New Brunswick to get to Prince Edward Island. Took about 4 hours from the border to get to what's called Confederation Bridge. The bridge is a passage across the Northumberland Strait. It links PEI with New Brunswick, Canada, and it spans the Abegwit Passage. The islanders refer to it as the Fixed Bridge. It's the longest bridge over ice-covered waters in the world. So when you cross, you come to this tourist town called Gateway Village, and it is just on the south shore of the Northumberland Strait. It was formerly a train and car ferry port before the Confederation Bridge was completed in 1997. There's a Canadian memorial with a segment of the bridge in the town. The bridge was built from 1993 to 1997. It sits on 62 piers and is about 8 miles long. It's a toll, but the tolls only apply when leaving. So when you leave, the cost is about $48. Well, and that's as of 2019. So after we got through Gateway Village, we came to a cemetery that dates back clear back to 1882 with a little church on there called St. Peter's Church that also dates back into the 1800s. It's located on 7 Mile Bay. Later that night, we stayed at a harvest host called Moth Lane Brewery. We drove down a long dirt road thinking we must be lost, but at the end of the road, there it was, a beautiful setting on the bay in the woods. The only drawback was the mosquitoes. We have mosquitoes in Iowa, but boy, do these rival ours. Summers in PEI are very humid, and mosquitoes love humid. So we went into the brewery, drank a few beers. It was really good, had a good time, talked with the locals, and then before heading back to our RV for a good night's sleep. The next morning, after watching such a gorgeous sunrise on the bay, we headed to the northern tip of the island. It features the longest natural rock reef in North America. There's a lighthouse beacon which is used to warn ships of the rock reef. There's a fun nature trail called Black Marsh. It's about 5.5 kilometer trail. I really should have tried to run it, but it was so hot. Anyway, it's beautiful. The parking lot's big and it was free, which was nice. And there's also a gift shop with local items for sale right off of the parking lot. We were able to walk out on the red sands, and when the tide is out, you can explore the tidal pools on the sections of the exposed seafloor. There's also a PEI wind farm that's located there. It's the first one ever done in Canada. And it also had an aquarium and a museum located on site. However, we didn't go in. Our journey is mostly finding free or cheap things to do, and we didn't feel like this was something we wanted to splurge on. So after spending a good portion of the day on the beach and out in the sand, we decided to head south to explore the rest of the island. We passed Anna Green Gables area, which is where the movie was filmed. And earlier that day, we had stopped at a basket weaving shop, and they were really busy working on replicating baskets of that era for an upcoming film of another Anna Green Gables movie. It was pretty interesting, very nice baskets, but very pricey. We decided not to stop here either, but if you're an Anna Green Gables fan, you might enjoy it. We drove by so many beautiful overlooks and setting. It was really enjoyable to venture along. So we came across something called Roma at Three Rivers. It's a historical site, and someone named Jean-Pierre Roma was a French merchant, and in 1732 he established a trading post where there are guides there that are dressed in full clothing that walk you through the history of time. You can also have lunch that is also historical to the time as well. It includes trails to explore and with intuitive signs all along the way explaining the history. There's some old artifacts that were from 1732 to 1745 that were unearthed in 1970 that are on display. It was pretty interesting to see. This is just one example of the artifacts found. There are several more of them there. These were overlooking a beautiful spot on the Montague River. So we came across several beautiful lighthouses. They're dotted all across the island, and of course the scenic overlooks are just stunning across the whole island. The major crop of PEI is the potato, and they're grown and transported all over across Canada. It's pretty big business there. They even have a potato museum that you can visit. Again, we decided to pass that one up, but it's interesting to see the giant potato outside. We spent the night again at our second harvest host in PEI. It was a farm, a very nice farm called Shepherd's Farm. It was different from all the other ones, as we were treated to electricity, hot showers, flush toilets, all free of charge. These usually are just boondocking spots where you get nothing but the spot to park. Anyway, the next morning, before we left, we were able to purchase a few things out of their garden, some fresh picked kale, beets, radishes, and such. So despite the mosquitoes, it was a real treat. We really wanted to explore the river and trails that they had nearby, but the mosquitoes just didn't allow for us to enjoy anything like that. It was really too bad, as it was a beautiful farm and the owner said we could stay as long as we wanted to see the area. He was rightfully proud of his farm, but it just wasn't conducive to doing anything outside. Perhaps another time of the year when we're not so humid. Our final night on PEI landed us at Woods Island at the ferry parking lot. We were able to queue up that night prior to leaving early in the morning to head back to the mainland. It was pretty interesting staying in the parking lot. It was very secure and quiet. The trucks started queuing up at 6 a.m., which was a good time for us to get up and moving. We put our slide in, prepared for the next day, had breakfast. These are photos here of after we had loaded onto the ferry and what we saw after we were up on top deck. It's very beautiful to be sitting out there, pretty peaceful and quiet. It was a nice time. So in my next video, I'll go through the process of what it was like to load the RV onto a giant ferry and cruise across the strait to the mainland. So if you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe button, like and share with your friends, and we'll see you on the next journey. Thank you.